Hey everyone, today on People Now.
Everybody has a voice and should be heard.
A People Now exclusive, Julianne Hough opening up to us about moving forward amid the controversy surrounding her and Gabrielle Union's departure from America's Got Talent.
J-Lo, Aniston, Michelle, T-Swift. People celebrates the 2019 People of the Year with 4 amazing women on 4 separate covers. We're breaking it all down today.
Jennifer Aydin is here telling us all about the friendships being tested this season on Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Wait to sneak some schnapps into your seat.
Yeah.
Well, I like that.
Anna Gasteyer is bringing her singing and comedy chops to new projects just in time for the holidays.
Plus,
nobody knew about it.
Mark Ruffalo bringing an explosive and shocking true story to the big screen in Dark Waters.
It's all coming up today, live on People Now.
Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to People Now. Good to see you. We're celebrating a special issue of People this week. It's the 2019 People of the Year. It's so special, we cannot have just one cover star. We actually have 4 of them.
I love it. It's girl power.
Yeah, let's get into it. No particular order. Our first cover star is J-Lo.
Yes, Jennifer Lopez took her game to a whole new level in 2019 and enjoyed a series of career highs, from her hit It's My Party tour to an Oscar buzzworthy performance in Hustlers to landing the coveted Super Bowl halftime show gig.
Yeah, J-Lo tells us in this week's cover story, quote, dreams come true, but you have to work at it and not give up. Hear what she has to say about how she feels about life today.
I feel very confident in what I do and what I have to offer. You know, all of that stuff together kind of makes for a good combination of like peace and happiness.
She adds that being a mom to her twins, Emmy and Max, is her #1 job. And after her mega successful summer tour, which was also a celebration for her 50th birthday, J-Lo hustled into fall with a wildly successful Hustlers, which is giving her major Oscar buzz. J-Lo saying that she loved playing Ramona because of how complex it was. She explained she was ruthless and maternal at the same time. And she added, you have to be able to be the star of the club and the person who will also backslap her best friend. I love that.
Yeah, get it. And you can't forget about her personal life. This year, Jenny from the block got a massive rock. Former New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez proposed to J-Lo on a romantic getaway in the Bahamas in March.
Jennifer tells People it's been blessings on blessings on blessings. So what is next for J-Lo? How about live from New York? It is Saturday night. She's going to be hosting Saturday Night Live this Saturday, December 7th, with musical guest DaBaby, and this will be her 3rd time hosting DaBaby's SNL debut.
Yeah, later in 2020, J-Lo will take the stage with Shakira to headline the Super Bowl halftime show. Although she admits it's challenging because there's a lot going on, she's constantly reminding herself how blessed she is, adding, I'm trying to take a deep breath and enjoy this moment.
Taylor Swift is our next cover star, and to say 2019 has been an incredible year for her would definitely be an understatement. In the final year of her 20s, the superstar released her record-breaking new album. It's called Lover, and embraced her voice and her power more than ever.
Yeah, in this week's issue, Taylor tells us, quote, this is the first time I've been able to put out music that I feel is connecting with people. I'm proud of the things I've withstood, and I've been able to carve out a life for myself.
The 10-time Grammy winner also famously took on injustices in the music industry this year by getting loud about her struggles with her former record label, Big Machine, over her life's work after the company was sold to manager Scooter Braun. Taylor telling People, I'm in a position to speak out, thankfully, so if somebody who's younger, who's signing a record deal, can learn from that, then that's a good day.
Yeah, after breaking her political silence late last year, Taylor also continued advocating for her LGBTQ plus fans throughout 2019. Her Change.org petition in support of the Equality Act racked up nearly 600,000 signatures, and her You Need to Calm Down music video received nearly 165 million views. And the star acknowledges the response has been inspiring, saying, when numbers do come in that are promising and petitions are signed in the hundreds of thousands, it's a good feeling. It reinforces your feeling that there is good in the world.
Following her massive Reputation stadium tour, the singer who's gearing up for her new tour, Loverfest, says she felt empowered to write music in a way that she was never really able to do it before.
And Taylor's entire career has been full of milestones, including becoming the youngest person to win an Album of the Year Grammy in 2010. But she's the first to admit that 2019 was extraordinary for her, telling People, quote, this year feels more special to me than any year before it. 15 years into doing this, being able to look around and acknowledge that it's special, I'm really stoked this moment can happen when I'm 29. That's one of the benefits of starting when you're 12.
All right, we've got 2 more cover stars that we're going to get to in a minute. But first, let's go to this. Kelly Clarkson and John Legend brought some holiday cheer to The Voice on Tuesday night's episode. Watch.
I've gotta go away. I can call you a ride.
The two coaches performed their Me Too era remake of the classic Baby It's Cold Outside for the very first time, with the updated version replacing some of the original lyrics that have been called sexist. But not everyone is happy with the updates. The duo has received intense backlash for changing the 1944 classic, and that continued on Tuesday night. One Twitter user wrote in response to the performance, "Did we really need a rewrite of a classic song? Only the PC climate we live in would think there was anything wrong with the original lyrics. I would love to hear you both sing the real version."
Another user writing simply, "Don't mess with the original," but there were plenty of messages of support and praise as well, including this fan who wrote, "Fantastic, love this non-creepy version." Another fan writing, "Thank you for rehabilitating this treasure of a song. I've always loved the melody, but the message in the lyrics was so wrong."
Yeah, John told People in November that there shouldn't be a debate over which version of the song is better. He said this, "It's just another version of the song. If you don't want to listen to it, you don't have to. No one's saying you can't listen to the old version. Those versions all exist. People make new versions of songs all the time. We thought it'd be fun to update the song and make it more current."
Despite the backlash, John also tells us that he was happy about the buzz around the song, saying, "We figured that it would be fun, we figured it'd be funny, and we figured that it'd be newsworthy. And I think we achieved all three." They definitely did.
I think he's right. If you don't want to listen to the new version, you don't have to.
You got options.
Right? All right, let's move on to our next People cover star this week. Michelle Obama is definitely one of our People of the Year after she had an incredible 2019. Her memoir, Becoming, shattered records, and her book tour sold out stadiums across the nation.
But despite all of this, the former First Lady doesn't feel like a rock star. In fact, she worried that her book would be a flop. She tells us in this week's issue, "I still remember waking up in a bit of a panic the night before my first tour event in the United Center in Chicago, this huge basketball arena. Were people really going to come? Was it going to be any good?" That was her quote.
Of course, her husband, former President Barack Obama, is singing her praises. He tells People, "I've been basking in the reflected glow of Michelle for the better part of my life now, but somehow this past year, she's raised it to another level. I couldn't be prouder of her or more excited for her, not because of the arenas she sold out or the book sales records she's shattered, but because of the example she's setting," and we couldn't agree more.
The National Book Tour wasn't the only milestone moment for Michelle this year. She and Barack dropped their youngest daughter, Sasha, off for college, an event that Michelle calls a little emotional, but she wanted to make the day feel as normal as possible for Sasha, so she and Barack helped with unpacking, but encouraged her to take care of herself. She says this, "As a parent, one of the most important things we can give our child is the freedom to find their own way in the world."
And now Michelle and Barack are enjoying the little pockets of time that come with having an empty nest and remembering what brought them together all those years ago. But even though they're having fun together, Michelle reveals it has been an adjustment for them because they miss spending time with their girls.
Yeah, with an amazing year behind her, Michelle says, "Accolades and accomplishments are nice, but I try not to let those be my metrics of success." She goes on to add, "More than ever, I recognize that it's the smallest moments that you and you alone can savor. Becoming is a lifelong process, and I take comfort in that fact. I don't ever want to look around and think there's nowhere left to go, because where is the fun in that?" Good words.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. All right, the final 2019 Person of the Year cover is everyone's favorite friend, Jennifer Aniston. She reveals to us how this year she learned that she can really do anything and that she can't wait to see what 2020 brings.
And this past year was really huge for Jennifer. She proved once again there's not much she can't conquer. Movies, check. Shows, check. And even Instagram, check.
That's a big one.
Yeah, she shattered Netflix records this summer with her comedy movie Murder Mystery, where she stars alongside Adam Sandler.
She also marked her return to series television with Apple TV Plus's The Morning Show, where she portrays a beloved host caught up in the Me Too movement. Jennifer is also a co-executive producer on the show and tells us that she's thrilled because the reaction to it is so incredible and there's so much appreciation for it. So what has 2019 taught Jennifer Aniston about herself? She tells People in this week's issue that she's learned how much she's capable of saying, quote, "The words I dare you or no always make me kind of go, oh, okay, well, let's just see."
As for working with close friend Reese Witherspoon on the series, Jennifer says it sort of just fell into place because she's so damn good and there was sort of an unspoken language. We were really a good yin-yang to each other.
And though Jennifer admits that she typically doesn't make New Year's resolutions, she's already looking forward to the new year, saying she's ready to get back to work on the morning show and that she's just super excited for the unknown.
Yeah, 2019 was also the year she joined Instagram. After years of saying she was not going to do it, she actually captured the social media site by storm with her first post. This Friends reunion post that you're seeing right here, I don't know, I liked it.
Minds were blown. Jennifer reveals that she has no idea how she broke Instagram, saying that she is both shocked and flattered about the whole thing.
Yeah, well, stay tuned. We go further in depth with their 2019 People of the Year covers later on in the show with People's deputy editor, Wendy Noggle.
All right, we sat down with Julianne and Derek Hough to talk about their new NBC holiday special. It's called Holidays with the Houghs. During that conversation, they opened up to us about their feelings surrounding the America's Got Talent controversy. As a reminder, news broke on November 22nd that Gabrielle Union and Julianne Hough, who joined the season 14 America's Got Talent judging panel back in February, would not be returning for the upcoming 15th season. It's yet to be announced who will replace them.
And then last Tuesday, a report by Variety claimed that while working on the show, Union had expressed concerns over racially insensitive situations during her time as a judge, including an alleged Jay Leno joke that was later edited out of the episode. Variety also alleged that Union and Hough were both subject to, quote, excessive notes on their physical appearance.
So in Hough's case, the critique reportedly began to negatively impact the star's morale, eventually led to tensions on the show. However, in a statement to Variety, Julianne denied that she had a negative experience working on the show. She said, "I had a wonderful time on America's Got Talent. I loved working with the cast, the crew, and producers. I'm happy to continue my working relationship with NBC, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds."
Yeah, so take a listen to what Julianne and her brother Derek told us about everything that's been going on, as well as the workplace culture they want to promote in the future. There have been a lot of headlines and press about you and Gabrielle Union not returning to America's Got Talent. How are you handling that situation, and is there anything you wanted to clear up?
I would just say that, my goodness, I just believe that and value at the highest regard that everybody has a voice and should be heard, first and foremost. And then, I believe that the paradigm of the workplace and how you do business and work with people now, it's shifting. And I think that the people that really want to see change happen are going to authentically and positively and integrally do that. And so that's all I really have to say about that.
Yeah. Derek, what's your reaction when you see your sister involved in headlines like the ones that have been?
I just get used to it. It's like, oh, another headline. No.
Yeah.
But truthfully, honestly, it is one of those things where you can just you just can't really get affected by certain things. I think you just got to live your life and do you and be truthful and be authentic and not try to please. It's one thing you learn too, I think, from being in the business for a long time is you not to be a pleaser, just to be who you are and be real and authentic, and then I think that the rest falls into place as it should, and that's all you can do, really, And you're not in control of the other stuff.
Yeah.
You're only ever in control of how you perceive something or how you filter something and how you react to something, and so that's it.
Yeah, it seemed like a difficult time and that it affected your morale, some of the things that were said. Have you been able to kind of regain your confidence after leaving?
Oh, I'm good. I know who I am, and I, as egocentric as this may sound, I totally and utterly love myself, and so I choose to, with whatever I do, just take all the lessons that I've learned and add them to my vocabulary and move forward. And there's so many projects that I'm doing with NBC that I'm really excited about, and just what the future holds. And I think that's one thing too, is that we don't know. And like Derek said, there's lots of things out of our control. And so as long as I stay authentic in who I am and everybody else involved also stays connected to who they are, that's all that matters, and not trying to please or have a perception of what you think people want to hear, and just staying true.
One great thing now, as you mentioned, you're now with this special in control, right? You're in this executive type level. And so I guess, what is your attitude about the kind of culture you want to create for the shows that you're producing?
When we do our tours, that's actually the joy of it all, is that we get to sort of help dictate the culture of what we're doing. And one thing that we always do, before we start, we have every film operator, sound, grip, lighting, dancer, every single person involved, and we literally say, hey guys, we love you all, we appreciate every one of you, we value every single person, because without every,
every little detail,
element,
everyone is valued.
And we create a fun environment. We want it to be fun, we want it to be safe, because really all those different things, those insecurities, all those feelings all come from a place of fear. And if we can eliminate the fear and spread the joy and the fun of it all, because that's why we're doing this in the first place, right? Why are we doing on TV? Why are we performing? Why are we singing? Why are we dancing? Why are we doing anything that we're doing? because we want to enjoy it. We want to have fun with it. We want to
We
create.
wanna share and spread.
You have
spread
to-
You are so joyful, so
But
I
it
feel
goes
like it's
like-
so fun to work for you.
But you want to have that spread to every single department, not just like us, but every part of the
And
department.
when you do that, the people that work with you also then feel encouraged and empowered to then spread it on too. When they leave this set and this experience with us, then they've had a great one that whatever project they work on again, now they're paying it forward. And that's how change happens.
I love them. And they would be so fun to work for because they're so joyful and everything.
Yeah.
All right, for more with Derek and Julianne, tune in next week on People Now and catch their holiday special Monday, December 16th at 10 p.m. Eastern on NBC.
All right, stay with us. Real Housewives of New Jersey star Jennifer Aydin is here spilling all the tea on this season's drama. Plus, hear how SNL alum Anna Gasteyer describes her good friend Maya Rudolph and how she is getting us into the holiday spirit. It's great. Stick around for that. In this week's People special double issue, we're focusing on some amazing women for our covers.
I love this. We have Michelle Obama, Jennifer Lopez, Taylor Swift, and Jennifer Aniston, who all reveal how 2019 was a pivotal year for them.
And here to chat more about everything they said is People's deputy editor, Wendy Noggle. Wendy, thank you for joining us. Good to talk to you. Let's start here. When you think of these four women, what initially comes to mind for you?
Original, epic, fantastic, at the peak of, like, how could they go any higher? They've just had incredible years, each and every one of them.
Yeah.
And they've all impacted culture in some way. Why do you think they're so influential?
I think because they keep raising the bar. You know, you talk about Jennifer Aniston making her return to TV with the morning show. You talk about Jennifer Lopez, you know, we're looking forward to seeing her at the Super Bowl next year. Michelle Obama and her memoir, Taylor Swift, the most AMAs ever. I mean, they just keep pushing the bar higher.
It really is something when you look at their careers and think that, like, oh, their peak moment may have already happened. Like, no, it's still happening and might even get higher and higher again in the future. J-Lo and Jennifer Aniston both open up about being in their 50s and about their love lives. What surprised you most about what they had to say?
You know, they both talk about 50 is really just a number. They don't feel 50, and they feel like they're at their best ever. You know, J-Lo is super excited about her wedding to Alex next year. She didn't even rule out the possibility of kids. You know, they're open to just more possibilities in their life. Similarly, Jennifer Aniston, she will never tire of love. She thinks it's something that is great for all of us, even if it brings us pain, which I think is a great takeaway for everyone.
Yeah, and you can be influential at any age. When asked who they thought was the most inspiring at 2019, Jen and J-Lo had the same answer, so who did they say?
They both highlighted Greta Thunberg. You know, what she has done for the environment, and they just said, like, 16, wow, what a powerhouse.
Yeah, and let's talk about this. Taylor not being able to put down Demi Moore's book. What's this about?
Yeah, we asked each of them what was the book they couldn't put down, and that's what she said. And partly because Demi was so criticized for being the highest paid woman in Hollywood. And so I think that's something Taylor can relate to.
Yeah, makes sense.
I have the book too, and I have to say it's a really good book. So I relate to Taylor in this way. Also, Michelle Obama has had quite the year. She's been out of the White House since early 2017, but now back in the spotlight, even more so than her husband, former President Barack Obama. Her book has made such an impact. What did she say about this year and how it's shaped her?
This is the best-selling memoir of all time. And for her, it was quite different stepping out onto those huge sold-out stages where she was telling her own story. And so she felt more vulnerable than ever. And so I really think it was a monumental year of how she connected with so many people on a personal level.
By the way, this Fred, she looks so fierce there as well.
Doesn't she? She looks incredible. It was a great day on set. I was there. It was spectacular.
Yeah, the photo, there it is. And the photos throughout this, all four of these covers are really great.
What was it like to be there?
Oh, she was amazing. You know, sat down, had some lunch with us, felt super comfortable in front of the camera, just clearly so confident in her own story.
Yeah, all really great interviews, very amazing stuff there, and amazing women. Turns out another amazing woman in the issue is you. You're giving your winter style essential to readers. Tell us what it is.
For me, it's a scarf. I'm allergic to cashmere and wool, so the beauty team helped me find this amazing acrylic scarf that's super cozy, keeps me warm all winter long. So we have lots of ideas for winter style there too.
Looks cozy.
Yes. Wendy, thank you so much for joining us. And everyone, if you want to read more of our cover stories, pick up a copy of our 2019 People of the Year issue on newsstands Friday.
All right, Anna Faris had a really scary encounter with carbon monoxide on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the actress celebrated the holiday at a rented vacation home in Lake Tahoe, California with family when several guests complained of feeling ill.
According to a press release by the North Tahoe Fire Protection District, the group of 13 at first brushed it off as potential altitude sickness.
Carbon monoxide poisoning was determined to be the culprit after 2 guests headed to the hospital. That's when first responders were called to check up on the rest of the guests.
Yeah, the safety crew inspected the rental home. They determined there were more than 6 times the maximum recommended indoor carbon monoxide levels. That was even with windows and doors open for ventilation. Wow. Really scary.
Yeah, and everyone was then treated for their symptoms, and 2 more were taken to the hospital for care.
And thanking the first responders for helping her family, Faris described the incident as, quote, stupidly dramatic. This was in a tweet on Friday. She wrote in part, "I'm feeling very fortunate."
Yeah, first responders said the family is lucky to be alive. The source of the gas was not identified, and the residents did not have carbon monoxide alarms installed.
You're coming together. Is your undoing.
What are you doing there, 3PO?
Taking one last look, sir, at my friends.
Oh, I can't wait for this. The saga coming to an end. And in Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, Rey is at the heart of the story once again.
Yeah, we recently sat down with the cast, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaac. They told us how their characters have evolved throughout the films.
I am quite proud of this one because it was very testing. Somebody that worked very closely on the first film saw a cut of it a few weeks ago, and he said it's sort of like you've seen like me grow up and the character grow up. So I think it's more of a, even though there's still many like vulnerabilities and insecurities, it's a more measured, like adult approach to the Star Wars journey.
Finn in this movie definitely knows what team he fights for now. This is a character we've dealt with through the 2 films. He hasn't always made a decision that's for the best of the crew and for the resistance, but now this is a fully fledged made Finn. I guess that was one of my major concerns, that we wouldn't see a change in Finn by the final movie, or that we wouldn't, for some reason I just felt like we wouldn't have any time because there's this Rey and Kylo dynamic, there's a lot of things happening with Leia and the resistance, so for me I was just like, where are we gonna fit that in? And then when I read the script for 9, I was quite happy to see that Finn is now a fully fledged, 100% committed resistance member and a fighter, and has no fear, none whatsoever.
Well, Poe was never even meant to make it out of the first one. He wasn't even supposed to be in the second act of the first movie. And it's all to JJ's testament, because he's the one that, you know, before we even started, thought, you know what, he should live. He's gonna go on throughout the whole saga. And I remember JJ saying, I kind of want to dirty up this kind of, you know, gleaming hero persona that he has. And so we get to find out that Poe's got a bit of a past.
All right, we're celebrating the end of an era with People Magazine's special edition, The Essential Guide to the Rise of Skywalker. Now, the issue includes more interviews with the cast, with in-depth details on all your favorite characters.
Plus, director J.J. Abrams shares how he created new droids, creatures, and spaceships to populate the new worlds. There's one new droid character, D.O., that's a little green and white droid who follows fan favorite BB-8 like a little duck behind its mama.
You can pick up People's special edition, The Essential Guide to the Rise of Skywalker. It's on newsstands Friday. And for even more from the Rise of Skywalker's cast and crew, watch PeopleTV's special Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker at PeopleTV.com.
What bothered me the most is that you wouldn't, as my friend, wouldn't say, actually, you have her wrong.
Well, you know, honestly, she said today she just doesn't consider you like a friend.
You don't consider me a friend?
Ooh, love the drama, love the dramatic music too. Friendships being tested this season on the Real Housewives of New Jersey, and we are joined now by one of the show's stars, Jennifer Aydin. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Good to see you. Casual chic going here.
Casual chic today. You guys know I'm recovering if you're following me on Instagram.
That's right.
You should.
You had your tummy tuck. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I feel great. Today is actually 2 weeks to the day. I'm still wearing my compression garment, which is protocol after traumatic surgery like that. So I wanted to be comfortable today.
All right.
And your husband actually did the tummy tuck.
My husband did the tummy tuck, yes, which a lot of people were questioning. And I have to say, I had my concerns too, because it is a very big surgery and there are a lot of risks. and possible complications. And I said to him, I was like, babe, do you really want this kind of responsibility on your hands? Because at the end of the day, I'm fortunate enough, I can go to any one of his colleagues.
Yeah.
But he really looked me straight in the eye and he said, nobody is going to take the time, the meticulous time that I will. Yeah. Nobody's gonna cut corners when it's on my watch.
I would say the risk really for him, because if you don't like it, he is never gonna live it down.
Yeah, he's never
Ever.
gonna. That was another thing. I was like, what if I don't like it? And my husband's like, I've done over 300 mommy makeovers.
Like, you're good to go. You are good to go.
He's like, I could do it in my sleep. And he said, I don't care how long it takes. I am not closing you up until I am completely satisfied.
Oh,
He's
that's great.
And I don't know if any other doctor could say that, even if they're my best friend. And I said, not only am I smitten, but I am sold.
You also had a few other procedures. You had a liposuction, breast reduction, a lift, a painful traction hair loss procedure.
Oh,
what
yes.
inspired the whole makeover?
Okay, so we started off with my breast reduction and lift because last season I saw myself on camera and, it always has been a problem for me, just finding clothing to fit, because like disproportionate or whatever. And I wasn't done having kids. So my thing was to not have any kind of plastic surgery. I mean, I'm married to a plastic surgeon. He would offer it to me every single day like he's offering me ice cream. Okay, but I was not done having kids.
Yeah, so you wanted to wait until that's...
I wanted to wait till I was completely done having kids. And also, the recovery, I want to make sure that it doesn't take time away from my kids. Like, yes, I have a nanny, but my nanny is not there to raise my kids for me. My kids, for me, are my number one.
So of all those things, what was the hardest part of the recovery?
Really, the hardest part of the recovery was sitting around idle, not doing anything, because I'm a control freak and I cannot sit around all day, watch TV, and eat bonbons. Okay. That's never been my thing. I'm like very active. I'm active in the school. I do all my own household shopping, and to be able to have to be homebound and have to watch TV. Like, it's one thing when you want
Choose
to
it,
watch.
right, but to be stuck.
But to have to, and then you're flipping, and then you're thinking, and then I was like catching up on old episodes.
Things you didn't want to catch up
that
on.
you don't want to catch up on. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so that was really the whole thing. So it started off with breast reduction, then the liposuction, then I got weight loss with diet. Not too much exercise, I'll be candid about that. It's all what you eat, people. Don't let me tell you any different.
All right, the diet's important,
diet.
that's true.
The diet is important, and then once I lost all my weight, my husband looked at me and is like, you are a perfect candidate now for a tummy tuck. And I avoided that for a while because I didn't want the scar. I didn't have any C-sections. All my children were natural. Yes, they were natural. And I didn't want the scar, but my husband was just like, you look so great right now.
So he was a huge cheerleader for you, but was there anything that maybe you wanted that he was like, nah, you don't need that, we're not doing it?
Never.
Never. If anything, is he the
like,
other way?
He recommends.
Yeah.
Like this is his business.
Right.
Okay, this is his business. And people are also coming up to me and like, I mean, we tell people like, you know what, you're so great. You'd be a great candidate for liposuction. I mean, yes, for the average person, it might be like, oh my God, what a rude bitch. But this is my life. This is like what I live every day. You guys are journalists, right? You can ask me a question where I may deem very inappropriate, but you're like, hey, this is what we do. Like to us, it's the norm.
We've got those questions coming up in just a second.
So people have to understand that this is just my environment that I live in every day, and I don't think that it's insulting to recommend something. Neither does my husband.
Makes sense.
So what about, because this is your life, what about with your kids? You have 5 kids. Like with your daughters especially, how do they approach you about plastic surgery? Have they expressed wanting it someday?
They have not. Well, definitely Gabby has expressed wanting laser hair removal. I told her that I think she should wait till she's 16 because, they're children. At the end of the day, I want them to be able to make the decision on their own, and I will support them in whatever they do. I just want to make sure that they're old enough and mature enough to just understand everything before they make that decision.
Sure. Yeah.
But I am an advocate. If they're not happy with something, let's change it.
Yeah, how do you manage those conversations about body confidence? Because you do want them to be happy no matter what.
Yes, well, obviously, some of my kids struggle with their weight. But when I was growing up, and I wasn't even a heavy child, but I had brothers who were heavier, and my mom always used to tell us when we were fat. Like, go, eat. Yeah, your ass is this fat. Yeah, eat. This is what we used to get from my mother. But this is like old school, hardcore love. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even mention food to my kids. I let them eat. I do. I let them eat whatever they want. They have the rest of their lives to worry about body imagery and what they think of. I'm not going to start talking about it now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the show a bit. There's so much drama, always to break down.
We're having a great season.
Absolutely. Can we talk about
You're
this?
welcome.
You're welcome. It's right. Well, okay, video that you made impersonating your co-star Jackie.
Yes.
It blew up this year. Jackie accusing
Oh my
you.
God.
She accused you of cyberbullying her. You did apologize later on. But
I
looking
did.
back at that, do you think that was cyberbullying?
No, and I don't, listen, we all have to keep in mind here that I was not the one who ever posted the video. By the time I posted the video, the show had already aired and millions of people have already seen it on the show. So we really need to keep that in perspective, because when that was happening in real time and Teresa posted it, she was recording me, so I knew I was being recorded. And then as she was posting it, I said, wait, do you think, because I didn't know Jackie that well at that time, but I was welcoming to a friendship with her, and I was like, wait, do you think that's gonna bother her? And Teresa was like, oh well, because that was like Teresa.
And speaking of Teresa there, Jackie also threw out the word bully in a recent episode in reference, when it came to Teresa. Do you think Teresa is a bully?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And honestly, with all the bullying with all the real bullying that's going on in the world, to say what our petty is bullying, I really think is out of left field, and it's diminishing what bullying really is. Like, we're not bullying, okay? We're not kids. I would not advocate kids imitating other people on social media, but kids do not have the capacity to deal with having a thick skin like adults do, right? You go to a comedy show, why does no one ever want to sit in the front row? Because they're gonna get roasted.
Yeah.
But you would never see a comedian picking on a child to roast them, because to them it's their whole world.
Or a different level,
But as
right.
adults, we're like, we get it, it's funny. And that's kind of my vibe. When you get to know me, that's just who I am. Jackie writes articles on things that inspire her, and I do sometimes impersonations. Sometimes I like to, sometimes I like to reenact a scene, because I think it makes it more entertaining when you're telling a story. It's not to be malicious. It's just to be funny.
Okay, so she's not a bully. Now, you are close with Teresa. Have you spoken to her since she got back from her trip to see Joe?
Oh, absolutely. She just texted me this morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did she tell you about how that was and how she's feeling about everything?
She did.
Can you tell us?
I will not say anything about it. You know what? A lot of the stuff you will see pan out on the show. They filmed a lot of it, so I'm not going to comment on that.
As someone close to all of that, did anything surprise you about what was said between Teresa and Joe on that Watch What Happens Live special?
You know, I was just surprised at how forthright they both were and how seemingly indifferent they were to each other.
Yeah.
You know, like I thought that for TV purposes and for the audience purposes that they may even try to put up a front, and both of them were completely themselves. So if anything, that's what surprised me.
Like the tone, the vibe with each other. I think that was everyone's kind of like
dude, why don't
reality
you fake
check
it
there.
till you make it, honey?
Yeah.
Come on, we're like, but both of them were kind of like, I don't care. And then Joe's like, get a rich guy. And she's like, find me one. And I'm like, somebody else seeing what's going on here.
As an outsider, I mean, you obviously have a friendship with her. I just want them to work it out for the family's sake. Have you gotten to interact with Joe at all, maybe on FaceTime or anything?
No.
Never.
No, I've heard him on speaker. He said hello to me. He seems awesome. He seems like a great guy. And honestly, I think they're two amazing individuals.
Yeah.
Well, one other quick question about that. Even if they don't work it out, do you think they'll be able to co-parent and work it out for the kids to have a civil relationship?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because sometimes you get to a point in your life where, like, maybe the passion is gone, but the respect for each other as, you know, the father or mother of your children is still there. And that's like one thing I think that's really important about marriage that people have to keep in mind. Like, I don't care if you don't love me anymore, but you always have to respect me. Because once respect is out the door, then all the other stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right, what else can we expect the rest of the season? Will you and Jackie ever get close?
I hope so. I try a few times. You'll see how that works. Sometimes not so great.
So what's the deal there?
You know, I think she's just got to lighten up a bit. I think she's just a little bit more serious. which is fine because I'm completely on the other side of the spectrum, right? I'm
balance each other.
silly.
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm silly. I do impersonations. I'll dance for you if you want me to. And she just seems a little bit more reserved.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just two different personalities. I don't think anyone is bad or good. I think it's a great compliment to each other, actually.
Makes the show great. We'll be watching for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by.
Of course.
And everyone, you can catch all new episodes of The Real Housewives of New Jersey Wednesdays at 8, 7 Central on Bravo.
God, how can we be like her?
Oh, I wish I knew. You know what? Let's just do it.
How?
Promise ourselves. We have to live like that. Live big lives.
And be fearless in every single way. No compromises.
No compromises.
We're gonna have creative lives.
Make things that matter.
Anna Gasteyer's Audible original series Holiday Greetings from Sugar and Booze comes out December 6th. Anna's also sweetening up the holiday season with her holiday album, Sugar and Booze, as well.
Yeah, we sat down with her to talk about both projects and asked if fans who know her from Saturday Night Live are still surprised to find out she's a great singer as well.
They are,
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah, and it's a funny thing because I started as a singer first. I was a singer before I was a comedian. I went to Northwestern as a vocalist. That's how I got into college, was auditioning and was like a very proper voice program. And then I met all the comedy and improv people in Chicago and completely abandoned music. But it had been my entire early life before that. So I did the Groundlings, I did Saturday Night Live, and then sort of, you know, if you grow up with music, it just becomes a part of who you are. And so much of my comedy was musical, but not in a serious way. And so when I left SNL, I doubled down. I did a bunch of Broadway shows. I sang Elphaba and Wicked, a bunch of roles, and now I have this, you know, Ridiculous Cocktail, Happy Jazz act, this very retro vibe act that I do that does certainly marry some of the comedy because it's lighthearted and really fun stuff, but it's definitely a musical. It's all about the singing and making the music.
Yeah.
So the holiday record is a real lean in on the musical side of it.
Yeah, so you have originals, you have jazzy takes on some favorites. You're also going to be taking it on the road.
Yeah.
What can people expect?
Touring. It's just a good time. It's a happy Christmas party, and I'm hosting. You know, so we do have a bunch of, you know, secular seasonal favorites because the American Songbook is full of great, you know, great holiday songs, Let It Snow and Sleigh Ride and all those songs that we've all come to love. And then the originals definitely feel old-fashioned too. It's a sneak some schnapps into your seat kind of show.
I like that.
It's about a good time for sure.
The Audible original Holiday Greetings from Sugar and Booze incorporates songs from Anna's holiday album into it and has voice work from Patti LuPone, Rachel Dratch, and more, including Maya Rudolph, who plays the sugar to Anna's booze.
We just wanted to tell a story of female friendship. It's really like a female friendship love story.
Yeah.
And the history of this relationship and kind of what time and distance do to a really close friendship. And so they're best friends. They're named Sugar and Booze. And it's the story is told very much through the family letters that they send one another. And all the things I love about those family letters are not just the boasts, but also sort of what's not being said,
what's being obviously omitted.
Yeah, so that you have the, you know, whatever, Timmy is valedictorian and Sarah is still doing Legos. You know, like, so you have those kind of implications of what's being read between the lines. And so we wanted to tell a story using that medium because the medium's fun to play with. And
wait, do you do these letters in real life?
I do a version of them. I do a terrible version of them. Yeah, not as effectively because I'm so self-aware that I end up just selling out my family and essentially just saying like, well, we all got fat this year. Let me kid tricks.
But it is a yearly thing for you that you do?
It started when you first have kids, you really lean in because you want to seem perfect, and then immediately, like I said, everybody gets sort of fat and old, and so then you just want to take pictures of your children when they're the most attractive. So you have to skip some years in there. You know, there's some awkward phases. And so I try to cycle in on the attractive years.
What past co-star sends the best Christmas letter?
Well, I have to say, so Rachel Dratch's really funny son, Eli Dratch. He's a very, very funny kid, and I generally enjoy whatever the picture is that they take in a sort of seasonal and hilarious way. He photographs well.
Yeah.
In addition to being amusing.
The series really about this transformative relationship and friendship between these two women.
Yeah.
In real life, what do you cherish most about Maya Rudolph?
Not to get all serious on you, but like, you know, I do think there's a lot of space
still left out there for female stories and stories about female friendships. And I was really grateful to Audible that they were interested in letting me kind of dig deep a bit, because I'm not answering your question.
No,
But I love that about Maya, that there is a real vulnerability and humanity and chaos all at the same time that she's willing to play with, and that's what the role is on this. So.
Yeah, and to your point, it is nice, I think, to see stories where it doesn't have to be one or the other, right? It can be funny and wacky, and then there can be depth and real emotion.
Yeah, and I think female friendships are complicated,
Yeah.
you know, and we haven't really even started to scratch the surface of what those stories are. So that's what this is. I mean, definitely it's a friendship based in comedy first, because that's the root of most of my friendships, being able to laugh together and have common ridiculous interests, but certainly to have some real backbone, solid friendship qualities, being there for one another during kind of rough times, or when the babies come, or, you know, during these big transitions when you need a friend.
Switching gears a little bit, you starred as Alphaba in Wicked, which you mentioned before. Originated the role in Chicago production.
I did.
And you recently saw it, right?
I did,
Did that bring back a lot of memories? What was that like?
Well, I don't remember. I have a really bad problem where I don't remember anything as soon as I'm done with it. I dump my hard drive. So I went to go see it thinking it would bring back a lot of memories, but really I learned the plot.
That's so funny, right?
I literally was like, I completely forgot that they both had the same boyfriend. I mean, real basic stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I played it for a year and a half, because I did it in Chicago, and then I did it here for after Chicago. So it was a full year and a half, and my son had never seen the show before. He was born after I did it, and I really wanted to go back and see it with him, but it was hilarious, because I was literally like, I basically just remembered that she was green and kind of an outsider. that was my takeaway.
That is pretty interesting.
I would be screwed.
And I guess since you're so
I had to step in tomorrow.
And so now Wicked's coming to theaters, right? 2021, going to be a movie.
I think so, yeah.
So what are we feeling about that whole thing, and the idea that that's coming out and it's going to?
Oh, I think it's time. It's already been what, like 15 years or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, it's absolutely time. And the music is so pop friendly. I think I have a version of Defying Gravity actually on my first album, I'm Hip, and they're really well constructed, true pop songs. And I mean, I would love to see like Ariana Grande or somebody play that part. I think it would be incredible.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we look forward to it. Such a phenomenon. It's so cool must be very cool to be a
Well, and
part
again,
of
like
it.
the lady friendship thing,
Yeah.
which it sort of was ahead of the game on, is really, really topical right now, and I think will be really meaningful to people still.
That's great.
Yeah, you recently posted an Instagram story. Someone asked if you could play any role on Broadway, and you said Mama Rose.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, that was me alone with a Bloody Mary on the screen. So I was really shooting for the stars.
Patti LuPone played Mama Rose.
Yes.
Did you ever talk to her, now that you're working with her, did you ever get to talk to her about that kind of role?
Well, she's amazing, because no is the answer, but I did see her play Mama Rose, so I was certainly starstruck. But she was funny, because she's such a natural comedian, and you never know when you hire somebody whether they're gonna like hear the timing, and this part that she plays is very larger than life, kind of grand dame diva, jazz superstar, sort of the fantasy, you know, of that character, and she nailed it so much, and you know, we were laughing so hard. I was like, you're such a natural comedian, and she was so funny, because she came out of the booth and the recording studio, and she was like, you know, Evita ruined everything for me, because I was always doing comedy before that. I was like, you're right, Evita ruined everything.
Yeah, the worst.
Yeah, but she's an incredibly funny performer. Her sense of timing is at the top of the game.
Yeah, that's interesting perspective on her. Let's talk about this. On Instagram, someone also asked if there's an actor, writer, director you'd love to work with. You said Kathryn Hahn.
Right, because we're going to find each other on Ancestry.com.
Yeah.
Kathryn Hahn
What do
and
you
I
love about Kathryn? Yeah,
mistaken for each other every
Yeah.
single day. I probably get a compliment for her, and every single day she gets a compliment for me. And we both went to Northwestern and finally met. We know a million people in common, but we've like our dream would be to play sisters or something.
Yeah.
Do you ever play into it when someone thinks that you're her?
Sometimes I just say thank you, bad. In fact, I met Kenny G, good name drop, at backstage at the Match Game, or like one of those game shows, and he came up and he was like, "Bad Moms, I met you there," and I just I didn't have the heart to tell Kenny G I wasn't Kathryn Hahn, so I just said thank you. It was super fun working with you, and took a picture with him and left. So sorry, Kenny.
Probably less exhausting sometimes to just do that too. Like, okay,
you don't want to, it's like correcting someone on your name. Like you just
Yeah.
don't want to make them feel bad for being excited.
Yeah. That's so great.
You want to tamp it.
Yeah.
You're definitely known for your time on SNL and these great impressions. Do you ever have FOMO or watch SNL? And is there a person or something going on right now that you would love to like get back in there?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it's so hard to make fun of politics right now. Like, it's tricky. But yeah, sure. I mean, I think mostly just the jollity of it and the ridiculousness of it and the speed of it. Sure, sometimes we have sketch ideas or things that come up that the reality is I actually work. I mean, I did Wine Country last year with all the girls. Maya and Rachel were on my audio show. Rachel and I are writing a movie together right now. So it's like
got some things going, right?
I'm actually allowed to have the speed of the fun part, which is the creative. What's the word I'm looking for? Shorthand, which is definitely like a mutant. When you do SNL, you develop a mutant skill. You have a shorthand. You have an ability to communicate with one another in a different way than in any other part of show business. So that I kind of feel like I'm getting still without, IBS of working on the show.
So good.
Because it is so high stakes, so you don't like get the anxiety. There's no way to avoid that. It happens within the week and you're busy and you're nuts.
Pressure.
And having to nail an impression just like in a week.
Well, not to be all back in my day, but, we didn't even have the internet, really. I mean, literally, the internet kind of happened after we more or less left the show. So, and really, when I started the show in the 90s, and you had an impression, you would be waiting around on Saturday afternoon for a tape to come up from, like, the Today Show. So that was super stressful. Now, I can't even imagine, to me, I can't believe the ease with which you could just, like, dial in and
just watch a zillion videos over and over.
I look back at someone like Daryl Hammond, who was just a genius impersonator, and I don't know how he did it. Like, we didn't have any raw material, really. We were just kind of hoping for the best and have a good wig.
For more from Anna Gasteyer, make sure to listen to her holiday album, Sugar and Booze. It's out now, and you can pre-order Holiday Greetings from Sugar and Booze, which will exclusively premiere on audible.com/holidaygreetings on December 6th.
Every scientist who knows anything about any of this already works for these chemical companies. That's not an accident, Earl. Earl, these companies, they have all the money all the time, and they'll use it. Trust me. I know. I was one of them.
In Dark Waters, Mark Ruffalo plays real-life lawyer Robert Bilott, who takes on an environmental lawsuit against a chemical company that exposes a lengthy history of pollution.
And when I sat down with him, Mark told me what surprised him most about this story.
That we didn't know about it. That it's one of the biggest corporate crimes in history and contaminations in history, and nobody knew about it. And it had been going on for 40 years over several presidential administrations.
And part of the problem facing Robert Bilott was that the chemical company was ingrained into the fabric of the town.
Now, Robert himself explained why that was a problem. Watch.
You're talking about a community where this was one of the biggest employers in town. Most people either worked there or they knew somebody that worked there, or they worked at a similar company nearby. And it's part of the culture in that area, that these companies are giving us great jobs, and they're the backbone of this economy. They're supporting the schools, the community centers, and it's very difficult for people there that want to speak up and say we don't like something that one of these companies are doing. And that happened in this case. It actually continues to this day.
The one thing I want to say about those workers is if they could have those same jobs without being contaminated by them, I bet you they'd choose that.
Of course, right. Definitely.
The fact that that's their only choice is really sad.
Anne Hathaway plays Mark Ruffalo's wife in the movie. Mark recalled the moment when she stepped up big time on set.
We were rehearsing, and literally we walked out of it. I was having a really tough time. I was having a crisis of confidence. It was like our first day together, and I walked out. We were walking out to the elevator, and I was just. And she's like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "I don't know that I can do this." And she, just like Sarah, was in there and of course you can do this. You've been doing this. You've been working on it for a year, and just bolstered me and reminded me and believed in me, and you know,
it's like truly embodied the character, right?
I know.
Like they just get into it.
We kind of dropped into it.
Did Anne get it right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In what way?
Yeah, my wife would tell you the same thing. I mean, she just really picked up on, Sarah's strength and personality. I mean, she had to basically live through this entire thing and deal with the family and all of my concerns every day and hold all of that together. While she had family problems going on, her mom had cancer. I mean, there were a lot of competing things that she held it all together.
Dark Waters is playing in select theaters right now, and it'll hit theaters nationwide on December 6th.
All right, coming up tomorrow, Angela, Vanessa, and JoJo Simmons. They are getting real about love and the 5th season of Growing Up Hip Hop.
Plus, we are joined live by Danica McKellar, who stars alongside Dolly Parton in the new holiday film Christmas at Dollywood. Thanks for watching. For now, we leave you with one last thing from this former That 70s Show star. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hi, I'm Wilmer Valderrama, and this is One Last Thing. The last movie I loved was Joker. Joaquin Phoenix's performance was so vulnerable and just so ambitious and groundbreaking and grounded. The last time I was starstruck was, I would have to say, the first time I met Tom Hanks. Even though I consider him a friend, I remember when I got the part of Larry Crown opposite him, and Julia Roberts and Bryan Cranston and Pam Grier. I mean, it was like such a cast that I was like, what am I doing here? And I remember walking into the production offices before I even started, and I hadn't met him yet, and I hear his voice coming around the corner. I hadn't even seen him. I heard his voice, and immediately I was like, that's Tom Hanks. The last time I couldn't stop laughing was this morning. I laugh all the time. Laughing is sexy. My last boys' night was, I took my nephew out to the movies one time. He's a boy.